Have you ever felt like everything in your life just stopped, like heaven turned silent, like your prayers went up but no answers came down? You look around and see others moving forward while you're still in the same place, waiting, wondering, asking God, did you forget me? But what if I told you? This silence isn't abandonment, it's divine strategy, that this pause you hate is God's hand, holding you back, not to punish you, but to prepare you for something greater than you asked for. Because the clock in heaven doesn't tick like ours. It doesn't rush, it doesn't panic. It moves with precision. And when God moves, He moves mountains. Today, you're not just going to hear a message, you're going to feel it, deep in your spirit, because everything you're waiting for is already written in His time. So lean in, don't blink. The revelation that could change everything is only a heartbeat away. Before we go deeper, if this message is already touching you, click like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and write in the comments, I trust your timing, God. Not just as a phrase, but as a prophetic declaration, because every time you speak faith, you move the heavens in your favor. Let's begin. You prayed, you believed, you waited, and still silence. So now your mind begins to whisper dangerous lies. Maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe God changed His mind. Maybe He gave it to someone else. But lean in. Heaven hasn't forgotten you. God doesn't operate on your schedule because He's not building something temporary. He's building something eternal, and that kind of construction takes time. The Bible doesn't say there might be a time for everything. It says there is a time to sow, a time to reap, a time to be hidden, and a time to be revealed. Ecclesiastes 3:1, divinely whispered through time, reminds us there is a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens. So what if the delay is actually the mercy of God? What if He's not holding it from you, but holding it for you until you're strong enough to carry it without it crushing your spirit? You see, you're looking at minutes and hours, but God is looking at generations. He's not rushing to give you a blessing. He's preparing to give you a legacy, and sometimes what feels like a closed door is actually the hand of God saying, not yet, because I love you too much to let you settle. Let that sink in. He's not punishing you. He's protecting you from a blessing received too soon, becoming a curse too heavy to hold. When God doesn't show up on your timeline, it's not because He's late. It's because He's writing a plot twist that will make your story unforgettable. So don't misinterpret silence as absence, delay as denial, confusion as chaos. Because behind the scenes, God is aligning details you don't even know you need yet. Comment below, God, I trust your timing. Say it out loud, not because it feels true, but because faith declares what feelings cannot see. And now, take a deep breath, because what I'm about to share next will shake your understanding of waiting and show you that this season might be the most sacred one of all. Let's go deeper. You think you're stuck, but heaven says you're in training. The delay you resent is the very process God is using to make sure you don't collapse under the weight of your own prayer request. Because when God gets ready to bless you publicly, He must first break you privately, not to harm you, but to shape you, to hollow out the pride, burn away the impatience, and carve into you the strength to carry what's coming. Isaiah 40:31 doesn't say, those who rush. It says, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Why? Because real strength isn't built when everything is going right. It's forged in the dark, in silence, when no one is clapping for you, when nothing makes sense. But you still choose to trust. Let me show you how heaven prepares warriors. Joseph wasn't thrown into a pit to be punished. He was placed there to be positioned. Because the prison wasn't his end, it was the passageway to the palace. David wasn't crowned overnight. He was anointed as a boy, but sent right back to the fields where no one saw him. Why? because God was building a shepherd's heart before handing him a king's throne. Even Jesus, the Son of God, was led by the Spirit not into a crowd, but into the wilderness where he fasted, battled temptation, and was prepared in private before ever preaching in public. So what makes you think that skipping the waiting will give you the promise? The waiting is the promise. It's God's confirmation that he's working in you before he works through you. Because if the spotlight hits you before the preparation builds you, it will expose what your character can't carry. This isn't a pause, it's an assignment. And until you complete this lesson in the silence, you won't graduate into the sound. So ask yourself this: what if you're not stuck at all? What if this slow season is actually the launch pad for the most accelerated breakthrough of your life? Keep watching, because in the next moment we're going to uncover why your faith doesn't just survive in darkness, it multiplies. There's a side of faith most people don't talk about. Not the part where prayers are answered, not the testimonies that make crowds shout, but the part where heaven goes quiet, where you keep praying, but feel like you're whispering into a void, where you keep believing but nothing around you confirms it. That is the sacred soil where real faith grows. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. But let's be honest, we like sight. We crave signs. We want confirmation, assurance, evidence that God is still listening. But God, he grows our roots in places where our eyes can't follow. Because if your faith only lives in the light, it's not faith, it's comfort. The darkness is where trust becomes real. It's where the noise of the world is stripped away, and all you have left is a whisper from God and a decision to keep walking. Ask any gardener. The strongest roots grow underground, hidden from view, in pressure and silence. And the deeper the root, the higher the tree can rise. So maybe God hasn't gone silent. Maybe he's just inviting you into a deeper place where your senses can't lead, only your spirit can. Let me tell you something few will dare to say. Miracles don't always come with fireworks. Sometimes they arrive quietly, softly, like peace where there was once panic, like stillness where chaos used to scream, like a gentle strength inside you that wasn't there yesterday. Because when your faith survives the night, when you walk through darkness without answers, that's when the enemy panics. Not because you shouted, but because you didn't stop walking. And if you're still here, still breathing, still believing, then your faith is already winning. So don't curse the dark. God does his deepest work in places no one sees, and just when you think it's over, just when your faith feels like a flickering candle, the wind of God breathes on it and turns it into fire. Stay with me, because in the next part, I'm going to reveal why what you do while you wait might be the very thing that opens the door you've been praying for. What if I told you that the breakthrough you're praying for is waiting for you to move, because waiting on God was never meant to be spiritual stillness. It's active trust. It's not sitting down with folded hands. It's standing up with a ready heart. Psalm 37:5 doesn't say, do nothing and hope God shows up. It says, commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act. Commit your way. That means motion. That means faith with feet. That means planting seeds in dry ground, even when there's not a cloud in the sky. You don't wait for the rain to start building an ark. You build like you know the flood is coming. You worship like the answer is already on the way. You pray like the heavens are already open. You serve like what you carry matters, because it does. Even if no one sees it yet. Let me speak to the spirit of paralysis that tries to disguise itself as patience. Some of you have mistaken inactivity for faith. But listen, you can be waiting and still be hiding, still be running, still be doubting, calling it God's timing when really it's fear in disguise. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Faith doesn't need certainty. It needs obedience. Moses didn't wait for the sea to split. He moved toward it. The woman with the issue of blood didn't wait for an invitation. She pushed through the crowd. Peter didn't wait for the storm to stop. He stepped out while it was still raging. What does that mean for you? It means write the book, apply for the job, start the ministry, pray over your children, take the first step, and trust that God will meet you on the way. Because motion is a magnet for miracles. God doesn't bless indecision. He blesses movement rooted in trust. Even when your emotions don't match your faith, move. Even when you feel numb, worship. Even when you feel dry, sow. Even when you feel forgotten, keep going. Because obedience is never wasted, and what you do in the waiting is often what unlocks the promise. And now, listen closely, because the next few minutes will answer the question that's been burning in your heart. But how do I know that God will actually come through for me? Let's find out. Have you ever felt like your story hit a wall? Like God started writing something beautiful in your life, and then, suddenly, the pen stopped. The chapter got quiet, the progress paused, and you're stuck, wondering if maybe He changed His mind. But hear me clearly, heaven does not forget. Philippians 1:6 is not poetry, it's a promise. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That means if God started something in you, He's not done. No matter what you see, no matter how long it's been, no matter how dead it looks. Right now, you see people quit, feelings fade, motivations run dry, but God never walks away from His word. If He spoke it, He'll finish it. If He planted it, He'll water it. If He authored the first sentence, you better believe He's already holding the final page. And sometimes the silence is just the sound of God working behind the scenes, building what you're not yet ready to carry. Think about Abraham. God gave him a promise, but it took 25 years for Isaac to be born. Why? Because the promise wasn't just about Abraham, it was about a nation. Think about Noah. He built for decades before a single drop of rain fell. Why? Because the storm wasn't coming quickly, but the promise would save generations. And now, think about you. The delay is not your disqualification. The silence is not your rejection. It's God's strategy to deliver the promise. When the time is full, not when your heart is impatient, His timing protects you. His delay strengthens you, and His promise is still alive, so don't bury what God planted. Don't mourn a miracle that's still in motion. You are not forgotten, the promise is not lost, and your God has never failed a single word. Share this video with someone you love, someone who's been waiting, wondering, doubting, because they need to know, if God said it, it will come to pass. Not on your schedule, but in His perfect season. And trust me, He's not finished with you yet. Stay right here, because in the final moments I'm going to show you how to step into that promise with power and never look back. Right now, you may feel tired, weary from holding on, discouraged by what you can't yet see, maybe even wondering, did God forget me? But let me speak this over you. With the full weight of heaven behind it, you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not abandoned. Your Father sees you in the silence, in the waiting, in the hidden places where no one claps, no one notices, and no one understands. He is there, and what you thought was a delay was actually divine design. What felt like rejection was God's redirection. What seemed like silence was sacred strategy, because He's not just preparing the promise for you, He's preparing you for the promise. And when it comes, it won't be small. It won't be late. It won't be halfway. It will be perfect. It will be holy. It will be right on time. So lift your head, wipe your tears, stand tall in the Spirit, because the night may feel long, but the dawn is breaking, and your time is coming, not just someday, not just eventually, but in the exact moment when heaven has declared, now. So right now, pause. take a breath and type these words in the comments like a declaration of war. I trust your timing, God. Say it even if your voice shakes. Say it even if your heart still aches. Say it because that's where breakthrough begins, not in understanding, but in surrender. Like this video, share it with someone who's still waiting in the dark, and subscribe so you never miss a moment where heaven and hope collide, because God finishes what he starts. He's not late. He's not gone. He's on his way. And so is your promise. Get ready, get expectant, get in position. The wait is almost over. Amen.